Welcome to Smart Girl Philippines. I'm Irish, and the topic of today's short talk is 6 high-risk techniques to gain intimacy with a Filipina. Don't pull out. Ooh. This is the third video in a series I'm making about techniques to gain intimacy with a Filipina. The first video was about low-risk techniques, and the second video was about medium-risk techniques. And this video is about going all in and making a big gamble in hopes that it all pays off. Remember, no risk means no reward. So, if you use these high-risk techniques, then you're either going to win big or lose big. So, where does these techniques come from? Well, these are some of the things that worked on me. Here's the deal. I worked as a waitress for several years in a tourist hotspot, and I interacted with thousands of foreigners. And confession time! I like foreigners, so I dated several foreigners who I met at the restaurant. Guilty! Some dates were good, some dates were bad. Some guys had game, and some guys had no game. And some guys probably just got lucky. So, I wanted to share just a few of the techniques that either work on me or work on some of my Filipina friends. And just a word of caution, these are high risk, so only use these techniques at your own risk. But hey, no guts, no glory. Let's get started. High risk technique number 1. Be transparent with her. Everyone in the Philippines is holding their cards close to the vest. Both Filipinas and foreigners alike. And Filipinas are really good at sniffing out bullshit. So a high-risk technique is not just being honest and not just being truthful, but also being totally transparent. Being honest is saying, I'm here in the Philippines for 2 weeks. Being truthful is saying, I really like you. Being transparent is saying, I'm also dating 3 other Filipinas right now because I'm looking for a wife. Being transparent with a Filipina is more than just sweet talk and more than just sharing how you feel or basic information about your life. It's really about telling the whole story. Maybe you're only here for 2 weeks and you just want to have some fun and see where things go. And so you tell her. Maybe you're thinking about moving to the Philippines and you're looking for a girlfriend that you can settle down with. And you tell her that. Maybe you want to start a family and you're looking for a Filipina wife and you tell her what your goal is. Sometimes you're going to scare a Filipina away if you're too transparent. But sometimes a Filipina is going to be attracted to you because you were open with her. The truth is that you have more to lose by sharing too much information at the beginning of a relationship, especially in the Philippines. So that's why this is definitely a high-risk technique, but it does work. And it's worked on me before. A guy showed up at the restaurant I worked at. He said he was only here for 2 weeks. He said he just proposed to his girlfriend of 3 years and she said no. So he was depressed and just wanted to get out of town and clear his mind and go on a few dates with Filipinas to keep himself distracted to help him start to move forward. Who knows if it was true? But I sensed that he was being transparent with me. And that transparency made me more attracted to him. And I knew how it felt to be in a weird transitionary period after a breakup when you don't want to jump into a new relationship too fast, but you also don't want to be alone. I also have a Filipina friend here who met a foreigner, and on the first date, he said he was looking for a wife and that he thought she was the one. Crazy, right? But they got married and they just had their first baby. Being transparent doesn't always work, but when it does, it's usually pretty awesome. High-risk technique number 2. Go to the province. This goes one of 3 ways. Either you meet a Filipina online and you started getting to know her and you want to pull the trigger and take a trip to the province to go meet her. Or maybe you don't have anyone specific to meet, but you want to take a gamble and head to the province and see what happens. Or maybe you met a Filipina in the city and you want to go to the province to meet her family. Dating is much easier in Manila or Cebu or in some of the more populated areas. But heading to the province means more travel, more challenges, more headaches, and less comfort. It might require taking a ferry or a 3-hour van ride or a long 12-hour bus ride. It might mean staying in a cheap hotel with no Wi-Fi and shitty aircon. The reality is that some guy put in all the energy and effort to get to the province and they strike out. Maybe the girl he was chatting with won't meet him because she's not where she said she was. Maybe he meets her and there's no spark. Maybe you get to the province and think, where's all the girls? And someone tells you, they're all in the city earning money. There's no work here. Or maybe all the girls already have boyfriends and they don't want to be seen in public with a foreigner. Who knows? But at the same time, many guys who show up in the province get rewarded very well. If every foreigner is going to Manila, Angeles, Dumaguete, or Cebu, and you decide to go somewhere different and somewhere far away from all the tourist hotspots, you might get really lucky. There's only one way to find out. Before I go any further, if you're liking what you're hearing, I wrote a book called Irish's Black Book of Game that I'll be releasing on Amazon later this year. I'm super excited about it. In this book, I'm sharing all the tips and tricks I've learned over the years that will make strangers want to date you. I'll give you a free digital version of the book when it's released later this year. So, just click the link in the description below to get on the waiting list and I'll send it to you for free. Let's keep going. High-risk technique number 3. Meet her parents. Guys, this is a big one. If you really want to go all in and take a leap of faith, then tell a Filipina you want to meet her parents. This is risky because if you're just playing around, then it's not a good idea. You could also be setting yourself up to become a target if her family is using their daughter to get financial support from a foreigner. And because it puts a lot of pressure on the relationship. Here's a quick story of how meeting a Filipina family backfired for a foreigner. He met her parents and her brothers in their first 2 weeks of dating. They thought his intentions were serious. When the foreigner took the Filipina to Boracay, the parents became upset because they were from a conservative family. Why is this foreigner partying with our sweet and innocent daughter? He needs to marry her or at least get engaged before we're going to allow her to do that. That pressure blew up the relationship. And then the siblings started asking to borrow money. Basically, what started off as trying to be respectful to her parents by taking time to meet them turned into a huge dumpster fire. And that's why this goes in the high-risk category. But as I'm sure many foreigners can attest, if you can pull it off, meeting a Filipina's parents is usually results in heating things up pretty quickly. That sweet and innocent Filipina that you've been on a few dates with suddenly turns into a wild jungle girl in the bedroom after you meet her parents. Who are you? Do I even know you? And who taught you how to do that? But keep going, you're doing a great job. High-risk technique number 4, buying her jewelry. So you found a sweet Filipina and instead of buying her stuffed animals or flowers or a new phone, you decided to buy her a nice necklace or a ring. Now it's game on. She's either going to feel completely kilig, which is a Tagalog word that means she's got butterflies in her stomach because she's so in love with you and she wants to drop her panties and wash your jeepney. Or she's not going to have the reaction that you were hoping for because she doesn't really like you. Cool necklace. Aw, thanks so much. Either way, if she finds out that the jewelry cost 50,000 pesos, which would be around $1,000, then there's a high likelihood that she might pawn it because that's a ton of money. She might only earn $6 a day working, and so that necklace might represent 8 months of working. And it's hard to blame her because she is fighting for her survival. And who knows? She might keep it and treasure it for the rest of her life. And that's why this is a high-risk technique. High-risk technique number 5, taking her to Boracay. If you just met a Filipina that you like, you can take a big gamble and ask her if she wants to go to Boracay with you. Or it could be any other destination in the Philippines that Filipinas want to visit, like El Nido, Coron, Bohol, or Cebu. The point is that it's something to do and will put you in a position to be together with her for an extended period of time. Instead of your relationship being a crock-pot, going on a trip together puts your relationship in the microwave. It's either going to heat things up really quick or things are going to stay frozen or might even burn up. I've never been to Boracay, but I do have Filipino friends who have been there a dozen times with foreigners who show up here. They're really good at knowing how to play the game. They say yes, they go. But there's always a plot complication at the end of the trip. They have to get back home for some reason, or go back to the province to see their cousin in the hospital, or go take care of their sick chickens on the farm. Basically, they know how to get in and get out. I know a Filipino who went to Boracay with a foreigner, and when they got there, he immediately wanted to have sex with her. But she thought it was just a friend's thing. He got mad and he ended the trip. And I know another Filipino who went to Boracay with a foreigner, and it was the catalyst for what ended up being a 12-year relationship. It's definitely high risk, but you're going to find out really quick one way or the other if the relationship is going to work if you do that. High risk technique number 6. Don't pull out. So, you meet a Filipina that you really like and you tell her you want to start a family. But instead of using words to tell her, you simply tell her with your actions. Here's a hint. You don't pull out. One of 4 things is going to happen. 1, she ends up being psycho, or she doesn't like you, or you don't like her, but she accuses you of getting her pregnant in 2 months. Oops. 2, she's not the innocent girl you thought she was, and you end up taking the walk of shame into the doctor's office to get a shot in your ass and a prescription for antibiotics. 3, she doesn't get pregnant, but she likes you because you're not afraid to be intimate with her without strapping on a piece of plastic, and she gives you the green light to repeat this fun activity as much as possible. Isa pa! 4, she gets pregnant, and now you share a very special bond. And that beautiful Filipina that was once a fantasy in your mind, and then a sweet and tiny Filipina you were on a first date at Jollibee with, is now going to be the mother of your baby. You get married and off you go on an incredible adventure, and who knows where it goes from there. It doesn't get any more intimate than that. So guys, this is definitely high risk. Foreigners have shown up here and gotten a Filipina pregnant, and it's been the start of a very beautiful thing. And some guys have shown up and gotten a Filipina pregnant, and it's been the biggest regret of their life. And it's also caused incredible hardship for many Filipinos. So, make sure you're not thinking with the wrong head when you use this technique. And since you made it this far, let me share a few bonus techniques with you. High-risk bonus technique number 1. Giving her an allowance. Basically, you meet a Filipina. You like her. You tell her you want her to be your girlfriend and you want to support her by giving her an allowance every month to help with her daily needs. One of 4 things will happen. 1, she's going to be turned off because you're making it sound like you want to buy sex from her, and it makes her feel like she's a bar girl. So her answer is no thanks. 2. She's going to take the money and do what she needs to do to make you happy, but she has no real interest in having a serious relationship with you. This is what we call a sponsor boyfriend. This is a popular option for guys who don't live full-time in the Philippines, but they meet a Filipina they like, and they don't want to lose her, and they want to make sure they get time with her on their next trip. Maybe the Filipina is faithful, but more than likely she won't be, and who can blame her? Biology is biology. If you're not here, you're not here, and her kitty is hungry for sausage. Oops! She's only human. And of course, nobody wants to turn down free money. 3. She likes you. So of course, she's excited that you care enough to help support her. So you become intimate. And then she gives all the money to her family and she has nothing left over for her daily needs. And you're back to square one. Dumb bitch. Or 4. She likes you. Your support means the world to her because you care for her enough that you're willing to help her have a better life. And she's not going to fuck it up. She handles the money you give her with care. She follows a budget. And she remains loyal and faithful to you. And by taking a small financial risk now, that beautiful Filipina is all yours. Time to rock and roll. High-risk bonus technique number 2, a really crude pickup line. I've included this in my book, but I can't discuss them on YouTube. But there are several crude pickup lines that are so over the top that they're actually really funny. And they actually do work on a small set of Filipinos. But it's high risk because most Filipinas will be immediately turned off and they might not ever talk to you again. But by being so polarizing and so raunchy, you're actually going to cut to the chase and figure out which Filipinas get the joke and pass the vibe check. Those are the Filipinas that enjoy a guy with a naughty sense of humor, who knows how to laugh at the awkwardness of sex. It can be a really great way to break the ice, but it could also be a great way to completely fall through the ice and end up frozen and alone hugging your pillow. Get lost, you pervert! And last, high-risk bonus technique number 3, a fiancé visa. Maybe you're the kind of guy who likes to live dangerously. You don't do anything halfway. You're an all-in kind of guy. Then this technique is for you. Thousands of guys risk it all every year and meet a Filipina and try to get her a fiancé visa so they can take her home and get married. For some guys, it works out great. And for the other guys, it turns into a nightmare of paperwork, expenses, and broken dreams. Many foreigners and many Filipinas are actually serious about marriage and starting a family together. And if that's you, then go for it. What's the worst thing that could happen? You get your heart broken and it costs you a lot of money? There's worse things in life, so I'm all for it if you found a good Filipina and you've done your homework. But if you're just looking for an easy way to get a young and beautiful Filipina back to your country so you can have sex on demand with her, then good luck. It's probably not going to work out so well. If all you want is sex, then there are cheaper and easier options that you should consider. But going the fiancé visa route isn't one of them. Let me conclude by saying that without risk, there's no reward. And unlike low and medium risk techniques, these are extremely risky. Sometimes, even when it seems like you have the best hand, you can still lose and lose bad. It's easy to go on full tilt when you get to the Philippines and end up losing it all. So, my best advice would be to use low risk techniques most of the time while learning to throw in a medium risk technique every so often when you think you have a decent chance. And I would only use these high risk techniques when you think you've got a winning hand and you don't want to throw it away. Or you want to bluff because you only live once and you found a pot worth bluffing on. If you enjoyed this video, you can hit the like and subscribe button, or you can also hit the thanks button below and tip me in proportion to the value that you feel you've derived from this message, because it's support from people like you that make all this happen. I couldn't do it without you, and I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much.